Recently, the forests in Chicago have been going through some distress. Of course, there are human faults such as climate change, plastic, deforestation, and more, but among the organisms in the forest, there is an invasive species that brings problems to varying places in the woods called the tree of heaven. In our urban forests, trees can contribute significantly to human health and environmental quality. We don't have many large forests, and we live in a temperate climate where the tree of heaven happens to thrive. Because we have few forests, it's important we preserve as many as we can, which is why at nature centers located around Chicago, there's a lot being done to preserve growing trees in the forest as a whole. Symbiotic factors in the forest where tree of heaven is typically found consist of plants, birds, coyotes, moss, and more. Abiotic factors typically consist of sunlight, rocks, temperature, and water. Limiting factors consist of allelopathy, which is the ability for the plant to affect the pH of soil, sunlight, and water. The problem is that the tree of heaven affects these factors for the worse because of its destructive habits. The tree of heaven affects the health of the forest by releasing a chemical during reproduction that prevents or kills any plant near it. A healthy forest maintains its unique species and processes while maintaining its basic structure, composition, and function. Forests are known for trees, and trees are very important for our health and the health of our planet because they convert carbon dioxide to oxygen and are important to the cycles. If the trees are unhealthy, the earth will become unhealthy. Also, some organisms thrive on plants and trees in our forest, and with the tree of heaven killing plants, organisms end up dying out if something doesn't change. The tree of heaven may end up ruining the ecology of the forest by reproducing and killing everything else. The typical anatomy of a tree, which helps to identify it, includes leaves for photosynthesis, the trunk for protection and possession of moisture, and roots to collect water and nutrients. The tree of heaven is a deciduous tree and has these characteristics, but some distinguishable things about it is its long stem and many leaves per stem, its colorful seeds, and its leaves usually have a strong odor and is usually 70 to 100 feet tall. An invasive species is a plant, fungus, or animal species that is not native to a specific location, which has a tendency to spread to a degree that causes damage to the environment, human economy, or human health. The tree of heaven is an invasive species that, even though it lives about for 50 years, it reproduces rapidly. In about a year and a half, it will grow thick roots and a thick trunk. Originally from China, being in the US also makes it invasive. The tree of heaven is hard to get rid of. It's hurting the cycles and the ecological way forests operate, meaning we need to find a reliable solution that could take out many trees at a time. There is a way to get rid of them, which is pulling out the seedlings by hand, but that can only do so much in a long period of time. This problem tends to be overlooked, but we need to realize what can happen if this gets even more out of hand.